Namaste everyone, welcome to the class. Now, let us see the third chapter, Respiratory System. Respiration is one of the most important cellular process of all living organisms. Generally what we understand that respiration means we are taking air in our body through our nose and giving it out, but this is not the complete information. Respiration is cellular process, means it is something which is happening in the cells. All the living organisms respire in order to obtain energy needed for their various vital activities like growth, movement, reproduction, etc. So all the energy which we need for various process, we get all these by respiration. So respiration is a process through which we obtain energy needed for our various activities. In the living cell, oxidative breakdown of organic substances with the release of energy and conversion of the potential energy into kinetic energy is known as respiration. In the living cell, what is its definition? In the living cell, the oxidative breakdown means breakdown of the molecules with the help of oxygen, that is oxidative breakdown of organic substances. Means we have taken food and in that food we have carbohydrate, protein, etc. So their breakdown, oxidative breakdown, with the help of oxygen, their breakdown and release of energy and conversion of potential. So from where this energy is releasing, so it is converting from potential energy into kinetic energy, is known as respiration. So in the living cell, the oxidative breakdown of organic substances with the release of energy and the conversion of potential energy into kinetic energy is known as respiration. So this is the definition you must learn. Okay, now the diagram is given. We will see this diagram. Okay, along with the text whatever given, or if you see here, from our nose we are taking air, fresh air, and it is going through this pipe. Now the various parts are mentioned, like tonsil is there. Okay, here somewhere they are indicating the presence of tonsil, then throat, then epiglottis, then esophagus, then here we have voice box, and this is our windpipe. Windpipe means the air is passing through our nose and it is going through this windpipe. It enters into the lungs. In lungs, we see that this windpipe is dividing in many branches. First, it is dividing in left and right. Then in left side, we see that they are branch out. Here we have lymph nodes, right main bronchial tube. So this indicates that right side branch. Then this right side branch is dividing, and here we have three lobes of right lungs. So we have, you can see three lobes, 1, 2 and 3, means the right part of the lung is divided in three parts, so three lobes. We have diaphragm. Now here this end part is enlarged. You can see this end part they have enlarged, and here they have named bronchiole, this smaller tube. So this main branch is divided into branches, then this branch is divided in small branches. They are called bronchioles. At the end of the bronchiole we have alveolar sac, air sac. We have pulmonary artery, so blood vessel is entering in this alveolar sac, and we have capillaries. So this blood vessel is divided in small capillaries, then it is reuniting and we are getting pulmonary vein, and by that it is going out. of the alveolar sac. Here this part they have expanded, and it is bronchial cilia. We have mucus present, and we have these cells shown. So this is all different parts of the lungs. Now, respiratory system. The system formed by organs which are connected for the exchange of gases between the environment and the living organism is called the respiratory system. The system formed by organs. So, the organs which are involved for the exchange of gases is called respiratory system. The respiratory system consists of nose, Nusselt cavity, larynx, pharynx, trachea, bronchiole, lungs, alveoli, and diaphragm. So, in this respiratory system, these are different parts involved, different organs involved. So, what are the different parts of our body involved in respiratory system? It is nose, Nusselt cavity. Nusselt cavity means passage from the nose. Larynx, we have seen the part of that tube. The upper part is larynx, then pharynx, then we have trachea, then we have bronchiole, then it is inside the lungs, so we have lungs, we have alveoli and diaphragm. Now here we have described all these parts of the body and their functions. So let us start with nose. So nose is the external part which we can see. The part of the face centered, the part of face centered above the mouth and below the space between the eyes. It is nose. Nostrils provide entrance to the nasal cavity. Internal air filters the incoming air, provides resonating chambers for speech sound. So the function of this nostrils is it provides entrance to the nasal cavity. So from here air is entering in the nasal cavity. Internal hair filters the incoming air. You can find small hairs in your nose. Okay, they are very important. What they do? They filter the air. Provides resonating chambers for speech sound. So when we are saying something, in that also these nose are providing a very important function. Now nasal cavity, a hollow space behind the nose. So behind the nose there is a hollow space. That space is called nasal cavity. Conduct the air into the pharynx. So what is its function? It conducts the air into the pharynx. Its mucus lining warms and moistures the air. So you can see mucus lining, and this mucus, it warms the air and it moistens the air for their passage. Pharynx, chamber behind the mouth cavity and between the nasal cavity and the larynx. So after nasal cavity we have pharynx. The portion which is after nasal cavity is called pharynx. So I will say that it is a chamber behind the mouth cavity and between nasal cavity and larynx. So it is a part between nasal cavity and larynx. It again provides passage way for the air from nasal cavity to larynx and for food from mouth cavity to esophagus. So it has two purposes. One, whatever we eat, it passing through this pharynx and it goes into the esophagus, and whatever we breathe in, that air is going to the larynx through this pharynx. So this is a common passage for both food and air. Now we have larynx, enlarged upper end of the trachea. This is enlarged upper end of the trachea, composed of muscles and cartilages bound by elastic tissues. Passageway for air, again it is allowing air to pass, passageway for air. So in all point we are seeing that passageway for air is common. It prevents foreign object from entering. Now one more purpose, that foreign objects are not entering. It prevents the foreign object from entering trachea and houses vocal cord. Filters the incoming air by trapping dust particles. So other purpose is to clear the air which is entering in our lungs. Now then we have trachea, a flexible tube which connect larynx with the bronchial tree. It is about 12.5 centimeter in length and 2.5 centimeter in diameter. Passageway for air and its mucous lining continues to filter air and protect against dust. So trachea, it is a passageway for air again, and it's a mucous lining. So there you will find mucous lining, and the purpose of this mucous lining is to continuously filter the air which is going inside your lung. Now bronchial tree, branched tube that lead from the trachea to the alveoli. So this is a branch tube that lead from trachea to the alveoli. It conducts air from the trachea to the alveoli, and its mucous lining continues to filter the air. Then we have lungs, soft, spongy, paired, cone-shaped organs that occupy a large portion of the thoracic cavity. Right lung is larger and is divided into three lobes. Left lung is smaller and divided into two lobes. So this lung, it is a soft, spongy, paired, cone-shaped organs. So paired means you can see it is present on left side and right side. It is a cone-shaped organ. It occupies larger portion of the thoracic cavity. So chest cavity, okay, this chest cavity is filled by lungs. Majorly it is filled by lungs. We have right lung and left lung. Their sizes are different. In right lung we have three lobes, and in left lung we have two lobes. It contains air passage, alveoli, blood vessels, connective tissues, lymphatic vessels, and nerves of the lower respiratory tract helpful in gaseous exchange. So there are a lot of things present. We have alveoli, we have blood vessels, we have connective tissues, we have lymphatic vessels, nerves, etc. For the gaseous exchange, uh, gets oxygen to the blood and takes away carbon dioxide through the inhalation and exhalation. So the main activity which is happening in the lung is that oxygen is entering in the blood and carbon dioxide is coming out of the blood. So when we are inhaling air, so from that air oxygen goes in the blood, carbon dioxide comes out, and we exhale. So major part of the carbon dioxide we release from our body. Then we have bronchi, the main passageway into the lungs, bronchi. Okay, so this is the main pipe through which air is going into the lungs. Carries oxygen-rich air to the lungs during inhalation and lets carbon dioxide-rich air out of the lung into the trachea on its way out during the exhalation. So the main purpose is during inhalation, oxygen-rich air is going in, and during exhalation, carbon dioxide-rich air is coming out. It is the connection between rest of the respiratory tract and the lungs. So it is a connection between lung and other respiratory organs. Bronchi. Bronchioles. As you are reading different headings, I suggest that after each topic, each part, you again see this diagram and see where the particular part, what we are seeing, is present, and try to understand its function from the diagram. And once you do all the functions, then draw this diagram with as many possible, means as much possible, labels. So if this chapter is there, I'm pretty sure that they will give you this picture and they will ask you to label some parts. So this is a very important diagram in this particular chapter. Now, bronchioles. Bronchioles, the passageway by which the air passes through the nose or the mouth to the alveoli of the lungs. Oxygen-rich inhaled air reaches the lungs through the bronchi. It travels via bronchiole to reach the alveoli, where the gases exchange occur. So, from bronchioles, from bronchi, the air passes via the bronchioles and it reaches the alveoli, where there is a exchange of gases. Diaphragm. What is diaphragm? Separates the thoracic cavity containing the heart and lungs from the abdominal cavity. So in our body there is two empty space. Cavity means empty space. One we call thoracic cavity, one we call abdominal cavity. So this diaphragm is something which separates this abdominal cavity and thoracic cavity. It serves as the primary muscle of inspiration, help in breathing, vomiting, and throwing up urine from the body. So the main function of this diaphragm is to help in respiration. It helps in breathing, vomiting, and throwing up the urine from the body. Next is alveoli, a small balloon-like sacs of 200 to 500 micrometer. So these alveoli are small balloon-like sacs. Okay, balloon we have seen. Alveoli is similar to that, but their size is very small, 200 to 500 micrometer. So it is difficult to imagine also how small they are. So they are made up of some balloon like sacs, and their diameter is about 200 to 500 micrometer, making up the vital part of the respiratory zone of the human lungs. So they are the vital, means very important part of our respiratory system. They are very important part of our lungs. Gets oxygen into the blood stream for transport to the tissues and to remove the carbon dioxide from the blood streams. So here the main function of alveoli is gets oxygen into the blood, means here the oxygen is entering into the blood and carbon dioxide is coming out of the blood. So this is the main part of the lung where there is actual exchange of the gases. So here we have seen different parts, okay, their description and their function. So you have to stop here and you have to again read each and every part. Okay, first you have to see this diagram, you have to read each and every part, its a description, its function once again, and then close your eyes and try to, okay, from top to bottom, try to recollect all the parts which is listed here, their description and their function, and then you proceed further. Once you did that, then let us come to the functions of the respiratory system. What is the function of respiratory system? It provides oxygen to the body cell. The first function, it provides oxygen to the body cell. It eliminates carbon dioxide produced by the body cell. It regulates the pH of the body. It defends the body against microbes. It forms speech and speech sound, that is phonetics. So respiratory system, its function is it provides oxygen to the body cell, the primary function. It eliminates the carbon dioxide. It regulates the pH of the blood, defends the body against the microbes. So there is some fighting mechanism, okay, which defends our body against microbes, and it forms speech sound. Mechanics of breathing. How we do breathing. The human body needs oxygen in air to perform the respiration and remove the metabolic waste. Carbon dioxide produced by respiration, the air exchange. So here the sentence is like this: the human body needs oxygen in air to perform respiration and removal of the metabolic waste, carbon dioxide produced by respiration. So this metabolic waste, carbon dioxide. So by respiration we are removing this carbon dioxide and we are getting oxygen, what is needed. The air exchange process contains two parts. One is external respiration occurring between pulmonary alveolus and its capillaries. The other internal respiration occurring between the tissue cells and the body capillaries. Respiration is of two types. So we have divided this respiration into part. One where there is exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the lungs. So that is called external respiration. The air exchange process containing two parts. One is external respiration occurring between pulmonary alveolus. Okay, so that alveoli what you have seen, it is taking place between the pulmonary alveolus and its capillaries. And the other is internal, where respiration is taking place, or the exchange of gases is taking place between the tissue cells and the blood capillaries. So two parts of respiration, one is external and other is internal. Let us first see the external respiration. Exchange of gases taking place due to diffusion, exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the inhaled air in the alveoli and the deoxygenated pulmonary blood is called external respiration. Exchange of gases takes place due to diffusion. Now how the gases are exchanging? Okay, in alveoli we have seen that oxygen is entering in the blood and carbon dioxide is coming out of the blood. Now how it is happening? So that process is called diffusion. So by diffusion, oxygen is entering into the blood and carbon dioxide is coming out. Exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the inhaled air in the alveoli and the deoxygenated pulmonary blood is called external respiration. So what is happening? The air which we have inhaled, from that oxygen is entering in the blood and blood is carrying along with it the deoxygenated blood, or we say the blood which contains carbon dioxide, and that carbon dioxide is coming out of the blood. So their exchange is external respiration. It results in the conversion of deoxygenated blood which is coming from the heart into oxygenated blood, which is again returning to the blood. Blood is purified as carbon dioxide is removed from it. So we say that here in lungs, blood is purified. Now, why we say purified? Because carbon dioxide which is present in the blood, okay, is a harmful substance for us, and therefore as it removes in the lungs, we say that the blood gets purified. So blood is purified as the carbon dioxide is removed from it. External respiration makes internal respiration possible as oxygen-rich blood goes to different parts of the body. Now, external respiration makes the internal respiration possible. If there is no external respiration, how the blood will receive oxygen? So, external respiration is the prime thing which need to happen before internal respiration begins. So this, for internal respiration, this external respiration is very much needed. Now let us see internal respiration. We also call this as cellular respiration. It is a physical process of interchange of gases by diffusion between the body fluid and the tissue. So here again, blood, when it comes in contact with the tissue cells, so there again there is exchange of this oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen goes from blood into the cell and carbon dioxide comes from the cell into the blood. The conversion of oxygenated blood coming from arteries takes place in the tissue where the oxygen gets used up during energy production. The deoxygenated blood taken by the veins is carried to the heart and then lungs for another cycle of external respiration or oxygenation. So what happened? When blood reaches near the tissues or cells, oxygen is used by the cells. So cells, they get oxygen from the blood, they produce energy, they create carbon dioxide, then they give that carbon dioxide to these bloods. So then again capillaries, they unite and carry that carbon dioxide in the blood. They come into the heart. From that heart, they goes to the lungs, and again in lungs there is external respiration. That is again that carbon dioxide is going out and oxygen is coming in, and thus a cycle is complete. So difference between breathing and cellular respiration. So breathing means in lungs we are taking in fresh air and giving out air which contains more of the carbon dioxide. And in cellular respiration we have seen that we are taking oxygen in the cell, we are doing some metabolic activity, we are doing some energy producing activity, and then giving carbon dioxide out. So breathing and cellular respiration, let us see what difference they have given. It is a physical process which involves exchange of respiratory gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. It is a physical process which involves exchange of respiratory gases. So this is a physical process in which exchange of gases, exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen takes place. Cellular respiration, it is the chemical process which involves oxidation of complex organic substances by intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide, water vapor and energy. It is a chemical process. Cellular respiration, it's a chemical process which involves oxidation of complex organic substances by intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide. So here intake of oxygen is happening and release of carbon dioxide is happening. Water vapor and energy, they are also exchanging here. It takes place outside the cell. Now breathing, it is outside the cell, and here cellular respiration, it takes inside the cell. It does not require enzymes. We have seen no enzyme is required. Okay, but it requires enzyme. Means in cellular respiration, okay, we have not seen it in detail, but in cellular respiration, enzymes are needed. And then we have diffusion of respiratory gases in the alveoli. So I think um, you must stop here. First, you revise all these things. Here you have to revise or learn the definition of respiration. You have to learn different parts, their descriptions, their functions. You have to understand the two types of respiration, that is external respiration, internal respiration. And finally, you have to do this difference between breathing and cellular respiration. So first you do all these things, okay, be comfortable with all these terms, and then we will see the next topic, which is diffusion of respiratory gases in the alveoli. So thank you for now. We will meet you in the next class and see the other topics.